Hello everyone, this is Jack and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in Sao Paulo still. I think this is the last day that we're gonna be here until we head out to a new city. We actually have to take a flight there, so we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. But today we're going to go visit some family in the cemetery. We do have 5 people we know buried locally, and then we're gonna take a tour of some good restaurants and shopping areas. So yeah, let's go. I never get tired of looking outside out into the city, but don't worry, we're going to have a lot of nature today. It also might rain today, so I'm like, ooh, do I take a jacket? I really enjoy it when hotels put the effort into changing up the menu every day, even if it's just small stuff. They could have the basics there like the eggs and bread, but other things like fruit and juices, desserts can all rotate. So it's been about 15 years since I last went to Brazil, and between now and then my grandparents have both passed, and so we wanted to go visit their graves and pay our respects. And we also have an aunt whose mom passed away, as well as my dad's friend who passed away, so we had a lot of visiting to do. Last night we bought flowers and kept asking for those guys' help to get like the top shelf stuff, but we got some pretty bouquets in pots in order to place them at the graves. The cemetery was actually pretty big, and it had a lot of beautiful flowers, tropical plants, as well as their own flower shop where you could buy flowers in case you forgot or just for convenience. All right, and then it was time to head to the world of cachaça. If you didn't know, cachaça is a rum that is created by fermenting sugarcane here in Brazil. Mundo do Cachaça is actually, I think, in somebody's house. They created a storefront at the front of their building, and it is an artisanal store where you could find really awesome local rum as well as imported ones that were made inspired by certain regions. And the person that was helping us was super knowledgeable and allowed us to try a lot of different kinds.
Cachaça bem gostosa, garrafa linda.
My mom literally maxed out the limit of alcohol that she could bring back, so we ended up getting 5 bottles total, a couple of which were smaller in size. And then after that, my dad was gonna go visit a person that he used to work with, while my mom and my sister go have lunch at a really nice hotel. It's cute. I love it. We were gonna go to Sky Restaurant and Bar, which is at the top of Hotel Unique.
Bro, what kind of lock is this? I could get in there.
So we can't get in.
Trying to get in for lunch. The entrance was all the way on the other side. Anyway, it is located on the rooftop of the hotel, and Sky boasts a crimson red pool with an underwater sound system and lounge area with stunning views over Ibirapuera Park, which we are going to go to after this, and the entire Sao Paulo skyline, including Paulista Avenue skyscrapers. They have delicious food and drink by Chef Emmanuel Bassolet, visual exuberance, and legendary unique service that engages all senses for every single occasion, from family breakfast, business lunch, and happy hour with friends to a romantic dinner. I mean, I could get used to a view like this. Couldn't you? It looks like it's straight out of a movie. We are dining at a 5-star hotel. It looks like a boat with Swiss cheese holes through it, but this is Sky. It's a rooftop bar, pool area, as well as restaurant. It's also Japanese fusion. Clouds. These were the restrooms, and they were super designer. My favorite part was the gold sink faucet from the ceiling that looked like a raindrop. You know, I always have to check out the bathrooms because that tells me if the place is going to be good or not.
So cool.
You can watch airplanes flying out between the desert foliage. It's actually surprisingly quiet.
You can hear traffic.
I got all appetizers because I wanted to try different things they specialized in. This was their beef tongue, which had pear on top, chopped up. This one was a savory beef tartare dish with a caper hummus type of situation. These were salmon sushi pieces, and I really love the cross section and how this is presented. Downstairs, we explored their lobby a little bit because, again, super designer. I loved this reading area. Look at how plush and royal blue the seat is. Oh my goodness, it felt great to sit on. This is their bar. I wonder if they actually use all of the bottles over here because the display looks cool, but it looks like it'll be really hard to reach. Panoramic views of the outside. Actually, you can't see inside from the outside, which is really cool because of the reflective mirroring. And then they had this chair that was not sittable, of course. The sofa was a sculpture piece. Real flowers for decor, and you could actually look down or up all the way to where sky is. That was a pool of water at the hostess desk before getting seated in the restaurant. Different chairs at the reception, and then this conquistador type looking thing in the corner. I don't know. This is the door to get into the hotel, which was massive, and that's kind of why we didn't see it in the first place. We thought it was part of the wall. So much jungle foliage. Speaking of which, we are walking towards the park right now. People adore their pets here too. I believe this is a hotel and grooming center for dogs. This is some ghetto ass do not cross line, but it's okay. It works, I guess. All right, so Ibirapuera Park is an urban park in Sao Paulo. It comprises of 158 hectares between Avenida República do Líbano, Avenida Pedro Álvares Cabral, and Avenida 4 Centenario. And it's the most visited park in South America with 14.4 million visits as of 2017. I totally thought these were squirrels, but they're tiny monkeys.
¿Oye? ¿Mono? Sagui.
This park opened in 1954, and it's the most important and most visited urban park in the city of Sao Paulo, with a lot of different activities and attractions. Actually, in a couple weeks from when we were visiting, they were going to have their 70th or 71st anniversary. So it's a 2 or 3 day festival where there's a parade and a bunch of people just like doing stuff all around the park. We're going to visit some of the sites and the centers that are featured along the way. There were also some interesting characters, like there's this guy who had a small plastic globe that was strung around his forehead, and he was staring at it while he was walking forward while typing in the air. And then there was a girl who was just in the rocks that was part of the landscape, like tiny pebbles, and she was just like swimming in it. So yeah, you do you, boo things.
Pipoca.
Pipoca is actually popcorn in Portuguese. It was a lovely day with the sun out, and it was pretty warm. Lots of cute doggos all around. Very active people, actually, because I guess if you like to eat this really heavy food, then you better stay trim and run it off or something. Anybody else Leo seasons? At this point, we were already walking throughout most of the park, and we racked up around like 5 miles, and we had to wait for our dad to join the group because he was done hanging out with his friend. You guys want to learn some Portuguese? And so we took a few quiet moments to relax and be under the dappled leaves and explore trees and the foliage around. We even helped a lost girl find her way to one of the art buildings. You'd never know that this is a long trunk with a butthole. So this was kind of a really productive, slow moment that I wish I could have more in my life. Rather, I would like to adapt more into my life, consciously. Also, there were these huge bamboos that reminded me of the Arashiyama forest in Japan. If you haven't checked out my Japan series, that's a playlist that you could go look at after this video. What's that pose?
It's a bamboo.
Okay. They even had a gift shop that was their own standalone store.
Cute.
They had so many cute little things in here. This looks like the magic wand, if you know, you know. And this shot glass actually glows in the dark, and the lady said that it was really fun when you had a drink in it and then you charge the glass and you take a shot from it. I thought that would be really cool for people who are into outer space or UFOs or the like. These little cups had the architecture of all of the buildings on it, and the designs were primarily done by Oscar Niemeyer. It's like a little white projector. And the landscape design was done by Roberto Borle Marx. So Oscar Niemeyer was famous for designing civic buildings for Brasilia, which was the capital in 1960. And he's considered to be the Brazilian architect that was one of the key figures in the development of modern architecture in general. I prefer classical paintings and buildings myself, but I do appreciate the simple concepts that have complex ideas behind them. This tree had other trees intersecting it. Crazy! It's a big ass park. We were getting to our max limit of walking, so we actually drove to another side of the park where we could actually look at a couple more of the buildings that we didn't get to see previously. This was the auditorium that featured the 2008 Latin Grammy Awards, as well as hosted the final show of America's Next Top Model, Cycle 12. It is officially called La Barreda, which is Portuguese for flame. Holes. More holes. Lots of holes. I don't know if we're allowed to walk on this, but I am. Really strong geometric shapes here. Reduce, reuse, ikiki.
Reduce. Reuse. Ikiki.
I'm literally a 5-year-old inside. Actually, more accurately, like a 12-year-old boy inside. Anyway, it was time for a nap, and after that, it was dinner time, and we were gonna meet my uncle and his family, my cousins, who live in Sao Paulo, and we haven't seen them in years either, so it was really nice to get together, eat a meal, and share some stories since it's been so long. The restaurant was called Tordesillas, and this was in the Jardins neighborhood as well. This is also on the Michelin Guide under the command of Chef Mara Sales, who has 3 decades of experience behind her. The key tenets of her cuisine are a fondness for dishes, for sharing, and the showcasing of ingredients from different regions around the country. Her dishes have a contemporary touch that are prepared with the utmost care and attention. Honestly, feel free to share with everyone. We had a lot of food to go. Lots of stews, lots of fried yucca, and oiled peppered oil, so that you could pour on top of certain accoutrements. Very cozy while still being a nice restaurant. All right, another travel day. So this is a big reason of why we are here in Brazil as well. We are going to go see dunes and lagoons in the Maranhão area. So we're headed to São Luís, which is the capital and largest city of the Brazilian state of Maranhão. Before I get into the specifics of São Luís, I have another dramatic story of us at the airport once again. I don't know what it is about this trip, but it was just very difficult to get from point A to point B, and I don't think it should have been. Anyway, we wait almost 2 hours at baggage check-in because their system kept going down, which means that our bag was literally stuck on the conveyor belt and couldn't get to the plane, as were other people's. And so they kept calling all the flights that were ready to board soon so that you could go through security, and they would hand carry all that luggage to that plane. It was bizarre. But our bags made it, luckily, on time, and it was just extra stress. So maybe it is a good thing you have to leave like 3 hours ahead, because if you got luggage to check in, that is a factor for countries that may have questionable methods. All right, so back to São Luís, which is Saint Louis or Louis. This is named after King Louis, the French king that was trying to colonize that area during the time, and they didn't really make it. But a lot of their culture is long-standing until this day. We're actually going to tour the downtown area of this when we return to São Luís after visiting the other side of the Maranhenses. So Lençóis Maranhenses is a national park that is protected. This is on the Atlantic coast of Brazil, so the very north part of the country. It is known for its vast desert landscape of tall white sand dunes and seasonal rainwater lagoons. We're going to take a look at multiple days of lake hopping and tell you how these even came to be, because it's pretty awesome. We stayed at Lucerois Hotel, which was right on the beach, which is overlooking the ocean and has a contemporary design. It's got an outdoor swimming pool, fitness center, bar, and restaurant. And this was our balcony and view. Wouldn't trade it for another room. This is the view. Pretty good. Always gotta check the bathroom. Shower. That's cool. We took the evening pretty easy because the next day we would be headed out to our first lagoon area, and so we ate dinner at the hotel, which was a buffet. Their meat was kind of hard, surprisingly, but the salads were really tasty. And you know we were craving salads because there was just so much meat all the time, and they have a lot of salt in their food, so crunchy, snappy, juicy greens were the vibe. Didn't have lunch, so we're gonna do dinner buffet. There's 79 reais per person. First one's here. Yeah. It was really sad to say that their desserts were too sweet to eat. Only their flan was good, which was surprising. And, you know, at least they had that going for them. But yeah, the rest of them, yuck. Although the tortilla soup was the best thing on the menu, which is crazy. Of course, I had to check out the outside at least once before we headed out for the lagoons the next day. Lagoon is out. Cute. Really windy though. Isn't the view just breathtaking? I really enjoyed watching the ocean shore come across the sand in the moonlight from our balcony. I think I spent an hour on this balcony just like singing into the wind, and the wind was warm. Highly recommend being in nature more often. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it so that other people can learn more about Brazil. Subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when I have new content out. And until next time, keep curious, everyone. Jack out.